Alright, we're here with heat number 4. The first of the reverse grid entries. Jai O'Keefe in the 42, Jacob Smith the 72, Luke Walker in the 67, Timmy Rankin in the 66. 4 young, hard, fast racers from down the southwest, 3 from around Warrnambool and 1 from Simpson. So we see Walker down the inside of O'Keefe in the 42. You can see the track down in 3-4 just a little bit rougher than up the top. And that is due in no part to the rain we've had up in the Moama Echuca area over the last week. A lot of moisture in this racetrack led to a late start to the night due to the amount of water that just kept coming up from deep within the track. As we see Smith, look at Walker, backs it in hard as he tries to make a move up the inside of Rankin. Couldn't get it done, but as they come off turn number 2, he does. Murcott tries the same move as they go down the back straight. Can't get it done, struggles with the car, the 88 machine, as we mentioned before. The Victory Lane race gear, Drysdale's Chaff Mills, Matty Eastermont car. So Murcott, 2-time national champion now, mounting a bigger challenge on Rankin as we go now to Luke Walker, the Total Dairy Service 67. There's our race leader, the 72 of Jake Smith, going around our rookie Stephen Spark in the 32. Lost a little bit of ground to Jai O'Keefe behind that lapped car there. A little bit of a gap back to Walker as we see Spark there just finding his feet, getting the feel for sprint cars. Back to the front, it's our 3 young gasses, Smith, O'Keefe, the former standout karting champion too, O'Keefe, and Luke Walker back there in 3rd place. Look at the rotor, the rear brake rotor on that 72 machine glowing. You could see that from a long way away. Now also a bit of smoke. 2 things you don't really want to see coming out of your sprint car. Not a lot of smoke, thankfully. Have another look as we go down into turn 3. You'll get the good angle there. You could, just for that second there, you could see that brake rotor, the rear brake rotor glowing bright red from the heat. So Keith Walker now on the charge. Look at the young Luke Walker, the Total Dairy Service. Zooming in on him in the 67. Oh, carries the front there just for a moment. Hooks into turn number 3. Oh, no, look at that. Oh, that's a big wreck for the young Luke Walker. Threw the car in hard, hooked a little bit of a right. That big right rear bit in. And that was a wild, wild ride for Luke Walker. Let's go to the replay again. As we see him coming out of turn number 2. Remember I said the track's just a little bit rough. You can see the front end cars, slightly unsettled there. You get some nice drive. Have a look at that shot there. The arms, you can see the arms working inside the cockpit. As he's hard on the gas again. The front end just being carried a little rough there. Gets some air. Carries the front down the back straight a little. Setting up for turn number 3 now. The car's probably still a little bit unsettled there. There's a bit of a wide entry into 3. You can see there he throws it in. Maybe just a little bit too hard as well. Gets the left front up on the infield concrete. Digs in. And young Luke is just along for the wild ride there. Wing doing its job. Back around again. One more. And let me tell you something, folks. Bang. That stoppage right there. Luke was later diagnosed with 2 fractured vertebrae. So 2 compression fractures. And I can tell you from personal experience, it was that stop right there where he landed flat down on the ground. The diff punches you up in the bottom. The weight of your helmet and everything else punches down from the top. And your vertebrae bang into each other. And unfortunately for young Luke, that's the end of his, the early part of his season at least, right then and there. Wasn't aware of that until he got back home to Warrnambool. Because he was able to walk away from that wreck, but that's the thing about compression fractures. They don't necessarily stop you walking, but they sure as hell hurt. Anyway, on the restart, it's Jake Smith out front. Jai O'Keefe, David Murcott now up into 3rd place. And then young Jordan Charge back in 4th. Sammy Wren, who was so happy with his first ever sprint car 410 heat win earlier on, absolutely over the moon. As we see that smoke again starting to come out of our race leader Jake Smith, and also Murcott a little out of shape there. Alright, Heat number 5 features Brad Warren in the 91, young Braden Parr in the 77 alongside, and big shout out to Liam Parr, his younger brother, who's having a tough time in hospital of late. Get well, young fella, and get back in that dirt cart of yours and get back out there as soon as possible. Hoping the best for you, mate. But as Brad Warren in the 91, as I said, in the early heat, one of the best opportunities for Brad, he knows that. And here he is taking advantage of that early opportunity of starting off the front row. Braden Parr, the youngster, not even 18 years of age yet, slotting into second place, and Glenn Sutherland, the Gambier Earth Movers, all the way from Mount Gambier. One of our series regulars for the last, couldn't tell you how many years has Glenn made the trip. Every meeting from Mount Gambier to Moama, to Horsham, to Hamilton, to wherever he needs to be, and we see him get around the outside of Braden Parr to take over that second place. Glenn's one of those guys, a very tall fella, and doesn't mind standing hard on the pedal, as you can see there. He seems to have found a track, a line there about mid-track up the top end that seems to be a little bit better. He's still on the bottom like most of them, down through 3 and 4, but up high up the top. Ashley Scott, another Mount Gambieran. Is that the right word? Mount Gambieran? Anyway, he's from Mount Gambier. He's now slotted up there into third place, pushing young Bradley Parr back to fourth. Corey McCulloch is behind him, followed by Eddie Lumbar, the local hero. And Scott is looking pretty racy, I must say. He hasn't done overly a lot of racing in his sprint car racing career. Of course, the grandson of Alan Scott, who started the whole Scott's transport empire. His father, Ray Scott, obviously the son of Alan, and his name, in his own name, Ray Scott Transport, on the side of the car there. And we see there Glenn Sullivan taking a wide line into turn number 1. That seemed to be pretty quick and, more importantly, fairly smooth, as Brad Warren in the 91 continues on out front. Totally different line into 1 to that which Sutherland is taking. But Warren continues. Nice drive by Brad Warren, who will cars. Any sort of sedan racing, doesn't matter. Sprint cars, he'll have a crack. As he comes around now towards the checkered flag, we see it way there to our heat winner, Brad Warren from Glen Sutherland. Ashley Scott will grab third. Braden Parr in for fourth. Corey McCulloch. Eddie Lumbar just getting there ahead of Brenton Ferrer. Timmy Hutchins, Charles Hunter, and Adam King. Okay, our final heat of the night is brought to us courtesy of Parr Motorsports, and it features Tim Van Ginnick and the West Australian champion in the 36, the Harry Drostry entry on pole, and 7-time series champion Mr. Speed Matty Reid in position 2, car number 92. And a little bit remiss of me to forget to remind you all that our first heat brought to us by Eureka Garages and Sheds, second heat by KTM, third heat by our great new sponsor Western Nissan, fourth heat by Hoosier Tyre Australia, the fifth heat by Camden Signage and Building Services, and this one by Parr Motorsports. Out front we can see Van Ginniken in the 92, big pressure. Matty told me at the start of the night, he said, I'm not too sure what I'm doing, I've been out of the seat for a while, I'm going to be a bit rusty. I said, mate, I'll give you 6 laps and you'll be back on the pace. Have a look at that. Challenging hard against Van Ginniken, who got his first ever sprint car feature win in the final round of the Eureka Series last season at Simpson. It was a rough and tough, hooky, elbows up racetrack. He drove past a number of guns to get the win. Headed over west to West Australia shortly after that. Got a ride in the SJ crushing entry and promptly won his second ever sprint car feature, which just happened to be the West Australian Sprint Car Championship. So he's looking for a pretty good season back in the Drosty machine. As we see Chris Campbell now trying to keep Grant Anderson at bay and get some important points towards the A-main starting lineup. So we look back now and we see Van Ginniken in the 36. He's been able to pull away from Matty Reid. It probably is just a little bit rushy. Domain Ramsey in the 2. He's trying to close in on the back of the Tri-Tech Lubricants entry of Matty Reid. So the 92, as I said, 7-time series champion. Great to have him back. Not sure what he's going to do. Might not do the whole series. Who knows? Let's hope he does. Let's hope he has a great start to the season and that inspires him to continue on. As we see Darren Clark in the 50, just being lapped by the 36 machine. Clarkey, of course, is it's only a 360 engine, and he was a former Super Sedan racer for a long time. Comes out of Bendigo, then he went to V8 Dirt Modifieds for a little while. Came back to, or I should say, came to the 360 sprint car class only for a season. Went back to the V8 Dirt Mod so he could compete in the Australian title at Avalon, and now back in the sprint car once again. And great to have him in the field. He is such a campaigner. As we see the win going to Van Ginneken from Reed, Ramsey, Anderson, Campbell, Brett Milburn, important points, Hickman and Co.